It's not the season for this, but I wanted to go ahead and toss this one out there anyway because, well, I guess for some of you watching, it could be the season for this. You could just now be getting into fall, winter, and weather starting to cool down. But also, do you really think that I never touch any of my cooler weather fragrances throughout the summer? I definitely do. I'm a big proponent of wearing what you want, when you want it, where you want it. Of course, there are some limitations that I would recommend you guys follow, like maybe don't wear 15 or 20 sprays of Versace Eros when you're going to school or something and being in a classroom. But for the most part, if you moderate your sprays and you're smart about it, you can wear about anything, anytime. And for me, when it comes to summer evenings, if I'm going to be going on a date, we're going to be going out to dinner or somewhere nice and fancy, I usually don't want to wear an aquatic. That just doesn't really sound fun to me. And so I like to go for something a little bit more sweet and perhaps gourmand. So we're going to be going over some great gourmand fragrances here today. I will link these down below to discounters so you can pick them up at a price below retail. Let's just jump into it. First up, Parfums de Marly HABDAN. One of my favorites from the line, especially for fall. Apple, myrrh, amber, and caramel are some of the main notes. Yes, I nailed it. Love it. It smells kind of like a caramel apple, and it doesn't get much better than that. It also doesn't get more fall season smelling than that. Every time I smell HABDAN, I think of the leaves changing color and eventually falling. I think of the sound when you're walking through leaves and hearing the breeze pick up and the air is nice and crisp. You've got a hoodie on or something like that. It's just a great, great time. I love fall, hate winter, love summer though. And you know what? Every now and then, HABDAN in a summer evening, believe it or not, it kills it. Next up, we have FERRAGAMO UOMO. So it's got sweet notes, literally. They generalized it. It's so sweet that they just have sweet notes. They've got ambroxan, they've got tonka bean, cardamom. It's a big hype scent. You know, it's been talked about for several years at this point to a pretty high level. A lot of people really like it. It's about $30, $35, $40, somewhere around in there on discounters. It's a relatively affordable one. Still kind of in that cheapy range sometimes, or kind of teetering on the mid-level price point. What I do really like about this one is its performance is amazing. It's a big projector, so it's one that if you are going to wear when it's a bit warmer, just dial it back. 1 or 2 sprays, you don't need to go crazy. Or if you are going to be wearing it in fall and winter time, you could go a bit more generous with the trigger there and, you know, hit 3 or 4 sprays or something, depending on your skin chemistry and how much you want to project. But the longevity is great. 8 hours, no sweat. A lot of times it's going to last much longer on most people out there. So it's a good performer for the price. A very sweet, like I mentioned, again, sweet notes. It's literally right there. So do be careful with it in terms of, you know, if you don't like sweet fragrances, then probably don't buy it. Ease into it, sample it first if you can. Maybe kind of dive into some other warmer smelling fragrances first before going too sweet. It's going to be a bit playful. Next up, we have Jean Paul Gaultier Ultra Male. So this one's got pear, it's got vanilla, cinnamon, lavender. Love this stuff. It's another one that smells exactly like fall to me. And it's always a fall fragrance for me. People always say, oh, it's more of a winter fragrance. And yeah, the amount of sweetness that it has probably does hold up better in wintertime because the cold air tames it down. However, it just smells like fall. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the fruitiness and the playfulness and just makes me think of fall activities and haunted houses and all that stuff. I don't know, but I just like it. And it's also one of those fragrances that I find myself craving just throughout the year, even in summertime. It could be July or August, just blazing hot and humid. And I still think, ooh, that pear and Ultra Male just sounds really, really good right now. It's got that fruitiness. Now, while I wouldn't advise wearing that fragrance out in that amount of heat, if you're inside for the day in climate-controlled environment, you know, 70 degrees, it still smells great for me. Sometimes summer evenings still smells great. Next up, we actually have kind of a summer gourmand here, so this one will be good for the season we're heading into. It's Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche. This one's got lemon, it's got tonka bean, it's kind of got the Chanel Allure Homme note breakdown, but the main focus here is that lemon. Really kind of gives it this lemon meringue pie, kind of lemon dessert treat type of smell. I really like it for that. You know, it kind of has this sour, kind of bright punch, but still that sweetness. Again, summer gourmand. You know, it's also going to be one of those fragrances where not everyone would be comfortable with wearing it in the dead of summer during the day. A lot of people do, and it works great. Some people just aren't going to be comfortable with that, but it would work great for an evening. You can also wear it in fall. You could even wear it in wintertime if you wanted to. The point is, it's a really, really nice gourmand that has great mass appeal. Let's go over to this one up next. It's Mercedes-Benz Club Black. Vanilla, benzoin, and ambroxan. It's all about that vanilla. But it's such a syrupy, strong vanilla. Like it's almost like vanilla extract or something. You know, it's like if you just put a little dash of that in your hot chocolate, your coffee, your pancakes, I don't know. It literally has such a potent, strong vanilla. So you have to be into that note, of course. If you don't like it, then you're not going to like the fragrance at all. Run far away from it. But if you really can get down with that note, then this would be the fragrance for you. It is a great interpretation of vanilla and benzoin kind of come together. So it's syrupy, but it's also a little bit dusty and powdery. The ambroxan gives it just a little hint of a sparkle. It's very well done. And most times you can get it for the mid-range designer price on discounters. It's a great buy. I ended up buying like 2 or 3 bottles total just because I want to make sure I never run out. It's that good. Next up, we have PACO Rabanne Pure XS. We've got sugar, liqueur, myrrh. I believe there's caramel in here. A whole bunch of other sweet notes also. It's a really, really, really fun fragrance. And why fun? What does that mean? I don't know. It's just, when I smell it, it just has this fun and playful smell. Just the sugar, the kind of booziness, this almost cola fizziness that it has, the sweetness, everything about it is just really quite unique. And even though it has all of that, it still has this kind of fresh aura. You know, it doesn't get too sweet to where it's like overwhelming and syrupy. It still has this kind of fresh embodiment, and I think it's really well done. PACO Rabanne, they really do catch a lot of hate, and a lot of it's going to be brought on by their marketing, by the fact that they do release a ton of loud, juvenile, youthful scents. But Pure XS and Pure XS Night, a couple to talk about here, are way ahead of a lot of the other stuff that they put out, and they are worth checking out. Let's go over to a niche fragrance. We have KILLIAN Apple Brandy on the Rocks. Apple, rum, pineapple, I believe ambroxan are some of the main notes. If you've smelled apple brandy, just, in the regular bottle, then you'll know what this one is all about. This one has a little bit more of a fruity approach. It's a little bit more mass-pleasing overall. Apple brandy, I think for some could be simply too realistic. Literally, apple brandy smells like the name, apple and brandy. It's boozy, it's strong, it's syrupy. So the On the Rocks version here, 1, it's more affordable, and 2, it is a bit more mass-pleasing, and I think it's probably more beginner appropriate. If you're looking into a niche fragrance and you want something that is a kind of a gourmand and very unique, this would be a good place to start. Next up, we have POLO Double Black. Mango, coffee, and pepper are some of the main notes here. So it's a little bit interesting. The mango coffee approach is different, and the mango note is kind of used in a lot of the POLO fragrances here in this line. But this one really is kind of all about that coffee. It's a nice roasted coffee. It's not too strong. It's not too overpowering. Some people out there can get weirded out by coffee fragrances. Maybe they're just too overbearing. This one is not. It's still a POLO fragrance, and it's what I would expect a POLO fragrance to smell like. It's still designer level. It's still very mainstream. It's not challenging at all. So if you are looking for that, then look into something else. KILLIAN Intoxicated, great coffee fragrance. But if you want a mainstream kind of coffee fragrance, just something a little bit different, but still staying on track of being mass-pleasing and easy to pull off, POLO Double Black is really nice. Well, and actually another coffee fragrance here. This one's going to be affordable. It's Halloween MANX. Coffee, tonka, and whiskey are some of the main notes. So for me with this one, I never get a ton of coffee out of it. It's more so tonka and kind of that whiskey booziness and that sweetness, but you do get hints of that roasted coffee in here. Usually $35, $40, 100 milliliter on discounters. It's a great pickup. The performance is great. You know about it already. I mean, this one got hit pretty hard over wintertime by myself, and I'm sure many other channels as well, for good reason. It's a great affordable scent. And it's a great gourmand. And last up, Armani Stronger With You, absolutely. Vanilla, chestnut, and rum are some of the main notes. So you know what this one smells like? It smells like roasting marshmallows over a campfire, or maybe over a wood-burning stove or fireplace in the wintertime. So you do get that chestnut, and that kind of is what gives off this roasted smell. You get the vanilla sweetness. You even get a little bit of a booziness out of this one. It's to me, it's amazing. It's my favorite of the entire line. I love it. I love that they brought the chestnut into this one, and the fact that they added a boozy core, that gets my attention right away. And it really does smell like sitting by a bonfire, roasting some marshmallows, maybe having a cookout in the fall time. Really big fan of it. It kind of gives me a similar feeling to when I smell Replica by the fireplace. It also kind of gives off this roasted marshmallows sitting by a fire type of smell, obviously. The Armani, though, is a little bit more mainstream. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 Gourmand fragrances that just always work. They smell great. Even though we're heading into summer, you could pick these up. You could wear them in the summertime, in the evenings. You could wear it inside in climate-controlled environments. I think most people that are watching this probably spend a good amount of time indoors anyway, so not that it matters a whole lot. There's a lot of people that work outside, of course, but you know, if you work inside, you can wear these if you want, or just save them until winter. Links to these will be down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.